everybody, welcome back to my channel, unless of course you're new here, in which case, hi, hello, my name is Ashley, and welcome to my random little corner of the internet. As you can tell from today's title, we're going to be going over my January wrap-up. All of the books that I read in January. Is it almost the end of February? Yes, but hey, I'm getting into this consistency thing. So, there's not a whole lot of preamble to go with this. We're just going to jump right in. So, in January, I read 9 total books, equaling 3,641 pages. Not too bad, not too shabby. It's been a little while since I read that many books in a month. I finished, I had a TBR set because I participated in Four Nations Readathon, and I finished the books that I had on my TBR, and I was able to, do a spinner wheel type thingy to figure out what books I was going to read next off of my physical TBR. I don't even know. I don't know. It was great. It was great. So, out of those 9 books that I read, 4 were physical, 2 were on audio, and 3 were ebooks. And then out of those 3 ebooks, 2 of them were e-arcs from NetGalley. Super grateful for that. Out of the 9 books that I read, 6 of them were books that I already owned. Obviously, 2 of those books were e-arcs from NetGalley, so I didn't physically own them. And then one of the books was the book that I received from my sister for Sister Story Swap for the month of January. Other than that, all of my other books, I already owned them, so we were doing good. I started the year off with 169 books on my TBR, nice, and I ended the month, I bought 4 books. Not I bought 4 books. 2 of them were from Book of the Month. One of them was the special edition copy of Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. It's a beautiful, beautiful edition. And then the one book that I got from my sister for Sister Story Swap. So those are where the 4 books came from my hauled list. So that puts us at starting February with 167 unread books on my shelf. It is what it is. We brought that number only down 2 out of the 9 books I read. It's okay. It happens. It happens. But let's talk about the books that I actually read. Okay, first up was the book that I got for the Sister Story Swap in December. I read about 30% of it in December, but I read majority of it in January. I'm counting it as a January book. And that is How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Meghan Quinn. I gave this one a 4 stars. It was cute. It was very Christmassy. It was very cute. It takes place in a town, I'm pretty certain, called Christmas. I think. Maybe. Kringletown. It's called Kringletown. But they celebrate Christmas just all year round. And there's the main character. Her name is Story. I almost said Storybook because that's what her grandma calls her. Her and her sister come back to town because it's where their aunt lives. And she broke her hip or something like that. And they have to come and help her. And while she's there, the aunt's like, hey, I need you to enter into this contest that I do every year, which is the Christmas Kringle contest. And you guys have to it's a contest that they do in town to show who has the most Christmas spirit. And Aunt I'm so bad at this. Aunt Cindy was super close to winning last year. Now she can't compete because she's half broken. So Story has to compete. And while doing so, she runs into Cole, they were really good friends growing up because she would come visit her aunt and then she would hang out with Cole and all was good. And then some stuff happened the last time she was here and now she hasn't been back to town in 10 years and Cole was upset about it. But don't worry, as all things happen, this is a fake dating story. So they pretend they're together and then they are together. And then suddenly, about here, it gets real spicy. And then it was just nonstop for 2 chapters. And I'm like, get off of each other. Actually, there is a narrator in here that talks to Cole every so often. And in the epilogue, I won't spoil it, but he does say, hey, that's what happens when you're constantly going at it. So, I mean, obviously you can kind of, if you know life, you know what happened. But yes. So yes, gave it a 4 star. I read it on ebooks. That was the other ebook that I couldn't remember. I was like, how did I read 9 and 6 of them were already owned if 3 were ebook? But yes, I read this on ebook just because it was available on Kindle Unlimited, and I can read this, or I can read my Kindle after I turn the lights off when Alix is going to sleep better than I can a book. So that was our first book down. Our next book is The Book Witch by Meghan Quinn. Not Meghan Quinn. Nope. By Meg Shaffer. This was the first book I got off of NetGalley, and I loved it. I absolutely adored it. It was 5 stars. This is my favorite book of January. I've read other things by Meg Shaffer. She wrote The Lost Story and The Wishing Game, and they're just... I've said this in other reviews that I wrote it on my NetGalley review. I wrote it in my journal, that Meg Shaffer writes like she loves stories. And I know that sounds it sounds weird to say that an author writes like they love stories, because you would think that all authors love stories, but it's just, these books are about stories. And for this one, we are following our main character, who is a book witch, which means that sometimes things are happening in books that aren't supposed to be, like, they're not, it's not what's written. Suddenly pages start missing or going blank, and suddenly someone who is supposed to be alive is dead, or someone who's supposed to be dead is alive. Something is happening, people are going through and trying to rewrite these stories, and the book witches go in and they fix it. And there's lots of little twisty twists about our main character's life and what's really happening and what's going on, but it was just so much fun. And like, I can't tell you things without spoiling it. I'm trying to give reviews without spoilers, but if you like, I'm trying to, I don't know what I would explain it. Like, it's almost like she blue skidoos into these books, and it's great. Like, she ingratiates herself into the stories. She's not supposed to make friends with anybody, but she kind of does. There's this book series that she loved growing up as a teenager, and, we all have fictional boyfriends. And she kind of fell for this, she had this fictional boyfriend that she liked in these book series. Well, then one time she has to go into his books because something's happening, and she's like, it's fine. I'm totally over that crush. I'm a grown woman now. Until she sees him. And she's like, maybe I'm not over that crush. And then they secretly start dating, which is a big no-no. And things it's fun. There is no, there's some closed door scenes. There's no real spice to it. But it was just so much fun. I loved it so much. It's 5 stars. My favorite book of January. Next up, I read Datings and Dragons by Kristy Boyce. Kristy Boyce. I keep saying Kirsty. I don't know why. By Kristy Boyce. I gave this one 4 stars. I read it physically. The first book in the series, I guess it's a series. They definitely all go together. I remember, it's called the series is Games and Romance or something, I think is what she's calling it. I'm not sure. But anyways, the first book in the series was Dungeons and Drama. Loved this one. It's a 5 star. Natalie loves this one. She's read it multiple times. She almost read it again the other day, and I was like, girl, you have so many books that you could read. There are so many books on my shelf that I would let you read. There's so many books on your shelf that you haven't read yet. You can, you don't have to keep reading the same book over and over again. But obviously she loves it. This one, still really good, but I gave it a 4 star instead of a 5 star, because there was just something that was just... I don't like miscommunication tropes, and there's a lot of it in here. We have Quinn, and we have Logan. Quinn is the new girl in town, and she's trying to figure out how to fit in. She finds out that there is a D&D group at her school, and she's like, cool beans, I want to join. I was on a D&D team at my other school, but they kind of iced me out because reasons. She was dating I think the DM, and another girl who was supposed to be her friend decided it was ruining the group, even though it really wasn't. I don't know, high school drama. So she joins this one, and one of their big rules is no dating within the group. Because of that reason, they don't want drama. But also, they live stream their games. And more drama happens when obviously these two start flirting, and they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? We're going to ruin the group. We can't be together. And so he starts being a butthead because he's like, well, I don't want to be around you, and I have to make this crush go away. If I'm mean to you, maybe that'll happen. But they're live streaming, and the other group, her old group, finds it, and so they start leaving a bunch of hate comments in the comments, and so they're like, great, this girl's just bringing drama to our group, what's going to happen? So she's super, super worried that she's going to lose all of her new friends because of these old friends. But obviously, happily ever after, because it's a cute YA book, and it's adorable, and it's sweet. It was just a little too much of the miscommunication trope, and keeping secrets, and being like, oh my god, what if they find out my secret? Girl, just tell them! Stop it! But it was 4 stars. It was cute. Again. Okay, next up, we have The Girl Who Could Fly by Victoria Forrester. I read this one specifically I mean, these first 6, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, were for the Four Nations Readathon. This one, I remember the prompt specifically because it was a book that either has the word fly in the title or flying people on the cover, flying things on the cover, and I was like, oh, look at that, it's perfect. It does say that it's a YA. I would say it's more middle grade, but it was still a lot of fun. We follow Piper, who's this little cutie right here. She has been able to fly since she was a baby, and these people show up. First off, her parents tell her she has to keep it a secret, very concealed on feel. And one day she goes to the town fair, and the kids are playing baseball, and she's like, I want to be friends with these guys. I'm going to go play. And then suddenly, somebody hits a fly ball way out. You know, it's going to be a home run. Well, Piper's like, well, if I fly up there and catch it, then he's out, and then they'll love me because I'm cool, because I caught the ball. Wrong. She's flying. She's a freak. Now the government's gonna come. These people show up, say they're from a special school. They take her to this special school. She meets some other kids that have powers. Things aren't always what they seem. It's the government. Things don't go well for these kids. But they rise up and they fix it. Kind of. Kids are running the place, which is a little weird. But it'll work out. I gave this one a 4-star. I loved it. It was great. I read it physically, too. I'm also saying that in each one. This one I physically read. I have looked up. There are 2 sequels. There's a sequel that is about the boy that's in this book. His name is, I can't remember. It's Colton or Conrad. His name is Conrad. The second book is about him. And the third book, we're talking about Piper again. Looking at the average ratings, the average rating for this one is like a 4.2 or something like that on Goodreads. The other ones are like 2 point somethings. Like, and then reading the reviews, it's like, how did you go from a book that was so much fun to this? Like, it was just not, apparently they were not good, so I don't think I'm going to be reading them. This one, however, was very cute. I don't really think it ended with a slight, I wouldn't say cliffhanger, but there's like a little loose end that could be followed, and that's probably what the sequels are about. But like, it's not necessary. Like, you can read this one and it'd be fine, and that'd be it. So yes, it's very cute. 4 stars. Next up, this was for a prompt that was a book over 650 pages. This book is a very popular book. Did I love it? Did I like it? Absolutely. Gave it a 4 stars. So like, 3-star is I liked it enough to finish it. It was good. It was nothing to write home about. A 2 is, I had to force myself to finish this because, like, I was like, I have to find out what happens, but I'm dreading it because I have to I don't want to read this. If I don't give anything less than that, because if it's less than a 2, then I DNF'd it, and it's whatever. 4-star is, this was really good. I enjoyed it. 5-star is like, I can't stop thinking about this book. So this one is a 4-star. I will give it a 4-star. It was really enjoyable. I should tell you what it is. It was Priory the Orange Tree. I did really enjoy it. I gave it a 4-star. It just wasn't, it was missing that They gave it a 5-star. I also listened to it on audiobook because this intimidates the hell out of me. Are you crazy? This is a chunk. It was like a 23-hour audiobook. But it was a good audiobook. It was a single narrator, I believe. I think I'm wrong. I'm going to put it on the screen if I was wrong or not. I can't remember. But it was like 23 hours long. But it was good. And I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I am going to look into reading the next one, which is also like 800 and something pages. Girl, you could have broken this up. This could have been like a 6-book series as opposed to 2 giant chonky ones. But they were still fun. Can I tell you anything about it? No. There's dragons. We follow like 3 separate groupings. We have one who is with the Queen, and the Queen has to bear an heir, otherwise that family loses their lineage and it has to go to this other family. And then there's like this group that hates the Queen, and they're trying to rebel. And then there's another group that works with the dragons, and the dragons are going to start a war. And they do start a war. It was a lot. And for a while, that was really the main reason I didn't go to 5-star. I was lost at the beginning, not knowing who the heck we were following. But I eventually caught up, and I was like, oh, okay. And then people would die, and I'm like, wait, who was that? There's so many characters to follow. But I did still enjoy it. So, 4 stars. Next up, this is the last book that was like on my planned TBR, and that was Rules and Rivalry by Kristy Boyce. This was my other e-arc from NetGalley. This one, however, I gave a 5-star because, again, this one was much better. We are following our 2 main characters. If I don't have the book physically in front of me, I don't remember names. So I can't remember their names. However, we have our female main character. She is on the color guard. It's senior year. She's on the color guard. She's captain of the color guard. She is hoping that she wins MVP for the seniors. So she's working her butt off to make sure that their team does great, that they get all the accolades and competitions that they're supposed to get. They don't have like a good full-time coach. She kind of is there when she's able to be, but she works at the bank, and so she's working during school hours, and so she comes when she can, like on her lunch break and stuff. So pretty much our main character is running the color guard. Then we have our male main character who, they were friends when they were younger. Again, he left because things were going on with his parents. We find that out later. Things were going on with his parents, and they needed a fresh start, so they moved away. They come back, and he plays the drums. I believe so. Because that's the percussion and the color guard do not get along for whatever reason. So when you go to a band competition, the drum line has award ceremony. The color guard has awards that they win, and then the band as a whole has awards that they win. And so for whatever reason, the color guard and the drum line have always been at each other's throats. And the captain of the drum line is really antagonistic. Like, he constantly berates them. And our male main character is, like, trying to be cool. Like, he's like, I'm new. Like, I have to fit in. And, like, he kind of acts like a dick. But then he tries not to be a dick. And then our female main characters, her parents run a D&D game in their basement. And that's how they met in the first place, our 2 main characters. Because his parents would come over and play D&D with her parents. And they would sit in the living room and watch Lord of the Rings or whatever. And so then they decide that they're going to start their own game because her best friend also wants to play. So they're starting their own game. And one of the little freshmen wants to join from the color guard, and it's super cute. And then that's how the team bonds. They all, like, create a character. They never play, like, as a color guard team. But they all create a character, and when things are, like, when she's trying to hype them up or pep them up, she always calls them by their character names, which is really cute, and it's all great. But obviously, because, again, it's what these books are, like I said, I'm pretty certain it's called Games and Romances, like the series. She always had a crush on him when they were little, and then when he came back and he was kind of a jerk, she's like, well, maybe I don't like him. And then it turns out he's like, yeah, no, I've always liked you. I was just trying to fit in, and then I feel like a jerk because I didn't want to do all that, and they live happily ever after, or as happily as high school kids can. They're seniors, I don't know. Maybe they'll live happily ever after. We'll never know. But yes, that one was a 5-star. So I had 3 5-stars? Oh, okay. I haven't gotten to the other one yet. Okay. So then we were done with my planned TBR. So then I spun a spinner wheel. Those are words I'm trying to say. And it landed on The Damned by Renee Ahdieh. I absolutely loved The Beautiful. Like, I thought I was done with, like, the whole vampire books. Like, Twilight was in the past. These books are great. These books are fantastic. But I rated this one a 4-star. There was, like, a weird... the things I really liked about the first one is the magical realism of it. We are set in, like, 1920s. That's probably wrong. I think we're in the late 1800s. In New Orleans. But it was magical realism. Because, yeah, there's these vampires. But everything else is just the world. This one, we step into, like, a fae realm for a good chunk of it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, obviously, I do enjoy that. I like fantasy, yada yada. It seemed so much different than the first one. But I still had a good time. I still had fun. I can't wait to read I think the next one's called The Righteous. Yeah. Can't wait to read that one. It was just a 4-star for me, though. But I did read this one physically. Look how pretty it is. I love these colors. The book square for it came out beautifully as well. So, but yes. Vampires. New Orleans. That is like a micro trope that I love. I love it. Technically anything supernatural in New Orleans. My other favorite, like tippy top favorites, are Blood Debts and Blood Justice by Terry J. Benton Walker. More supernatural in New Orleans. Check them out. They're fantastic. Anyways, I'm rambling. These are crazy. Okay. The next one was this is my sister's story swap pick for January. My sister picked all the prompts this year. They are Taylor Swift themed. The first one is, she did them in order of the eras, because now there's 12 eras. So she did this one. It was from Debut. I don't remember what song she picked. Each one is based on a song. However, this one, the prompt itself was just features the name and the title. I gave her The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi, because I love that book. She gave me The 3 Lives of Alix St. Pierre. Okay, video quality is diminished just a little bit because I had to turn back to my front cam because hopefully the first half of this video is not too terribly choppy. I don't know what it's doing. I don't know what my back cam is doing. It's being choppy randomly. It's just, like, I'm sure at this point, if you've gotten this far, you've seen it, and I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so we were talking about The 3 Lives of Alix St. Pierre. You would look at this and you would think it was Alix. You're wrong. It's Alix because it's French. We follow Alix, and she is the three lives that is mentioned is before the war, during the war, and after the war. She was a correspondent. She kind of was a spy. Not even kind of. She was a spy for the government during World War II. And so before the war, she was just this poor girl. She wanted to study. She wanted to be a writer, a journalist. So she was going to school and learning how to do that. Then the government picked her up and was like, hey, you're in Switzerland. How about you do this for us? And so she did that for a while. She was engaged to a man. It was okay. It was one of those, I'm going to get married because I should get married and not necessarily because I love him. Like, he's a great friend. Whatever. She does fall in love with a man while she's in Switzerland, and the war happens. Then the war is over. And there was one man who was the, like, informant from the other side, that because of him, a lot of people died, and she blames herself for it, because it was a crew that she had put together to send off to this mission, and because of this informant's intel, they all died. And so that's what she's living through this whole time. He did not get arrested, with all of, like, the other war criminals and stuff like that. And so now that we are in the current time, the after the war part of the story, she's scared that he's going to come after her. She's currently working at the little known fashion place of the House of Dior. It is just opening. Like, she is on the ground floor. She is working for PR, for the House of Dior. Fresh face. He's brand new. Fashion week is happening. All these people are here. He's like, I'm not going to have the line ready to go until a week after Fashion Week, so I need you to convince all of the journalists to stay an extra week in Paris so that we can premiere our line. Does she do it? Hell yeah, she does. Because she's like the queen of PR. It's great. She does great. But while she's doing that, she's working with this other journalist guy, and they're trying to figure out where this other, the guy from the war is, so they can hopefully get him arrested and all that like that. And then obviously romance happens as well, because of course there is. So, but yes, it was very fun. I liked it a whole lot. I did this one on audiobook because my sister said, hey, do this one on audiobook. And so I did. And I gave it a 4-star. It was great. There was just parts that slogged, and it wasn't, so again, it was missing the oomph, but it was still very, very enjoyable. So 4 stars. The last book that I read, it was another one that I finished The Damned, and I was like, okay, well, I still have 4 days left. What am I going to read? So I spun it again, and we landed on a nonfiction book. We read the Anthropocene reviewed. The Anthropocene has to do with, like, the way the world is, essentially. Let me see if I look up the actual definition. The actual definition of Anthropocene is relating to or denoting the current geological age, viewed as the period during which human activity has been the dominant influence on climate and the environment, That's the adjective. Or as a noun, it's the current geological age, views as period. That literally says the same thing. The examples for sentences, it says, we've become a major force of nature in this Anthropocene epoch. And then for a noun, it says, some geologists argue that the Anthropocene began with the Industrial Revolution. Basically, it's just a bunch of short, each chapter is like a little short story that John Green has written about all kinds of things. There's a story about Dr. Pepper. There's a story about, let's see. Let's go, I'm pretty certain there's table of contents in here. Yes. We have a story about teddy bears. We have a story about an academic decathlon. We have a story about the penguins of Madagascar. The Bonneville Salt Flats and wintry mix and snows, the Indianapolis 500. Like, it's just a bunch of, each chapter is just another part of life. And John Green is a great writer. He's a great person. It was wonderful. Is it a nonfiction? Yes. Was it incredibly well written and a breeze to read? Absolutely. And I gave it a 5-star. And that's how we ended January. By reading about the world. And how sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not so good. He actually, what's funny about rating this book a 5 stars is that at the end of each little chapter he rates the things. Because the first chapter is about how we have started rating everything. And how we used to not do that. And it started with restaurants, I think. How we used to not rate everything, but now we do. And at the end of each chapter, he rates whatever it is he's talking about on a scale of 1 to 5. And it's super fun. But yes. So, that is everything I read in January. Mostly, according to my story graph charts here, I read mostly YA and romance. Nope, YA and fantasy, followed by a little romance. And average star rating of 4.33. I did not rate anything below a 4 this month. It was a good reading month, and I am happy about that. It could be worse. As I said, I'm already, we're pretty much almost done with February. There's a couple books that were a little less than 4 this month. But it's okay. Overall, still great books. It's all good. Yeah, so that is what I read in January. Is this a hot mess of a video? Yes. Were you expecting any different? If you're new here, I am so sorry. This is what you're going to sign up for. I hope so. I hope that you're signing up for this. But yeah. So, to wrap up this video, what did you read in January? What was your favorite book in January? Did you only read one book? If you read one book in January, you were already ahead of so many people. There are so many people who don't read a single book at all in a year. Or maybe they only read one book in a year. And that's insane. So did you read a book in January? If not, that's okay too. What else did you do in January that you really enjoyed? Did you watch a new movie that you really had enjoyed? Did you watch a new show that you really enjoyed? Nope, that was in February. I was going to say I watched Delicious in Dungeon, but we will talk about that next month. But yeah. What did you do in January that you really enjoyed? Did you read a really good book? What was your favorite? Did you watch a new movie? Did you watch a new show? Leave me some recs because I need to know. But yeah, that's going to wrap this up. Thank you if you made it this far. Because holy crap. But if you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button as well as the big red subscribe button and the notification bell so you're always notified every time that I upload. And until next time, bye.